Welcome to Secrets of Earth. I'm Patrick Viersba, your guide into the world's most remote corners. Today, we witness a conversation that has been happening for hundreds of thousands of years. A dialogue between two species that share no common language, yet understand each other perfectly. In the dry woodland savannas of sub-Saharan Africa, a small, unremarkable-looking bird is searching for a partner. It isn't looking for another bird. It is looking for a human. This is the Greater Honeyguide, scientific name indicator, and no, I'm not just making that up. It is a bird the size of a sparrow, with the brown and cream-colored plumage of something you might walk past without noticing. And yet it is, in the precise scientific language of Claire Spottiswoode at the University of Cambridge, part of the only known example of targeted two-way signals between people and a free-living, undomesticated species. No training, no captivity, no coercion. Just two animals, one feathered, one not, who have arrived through hundreds of thousands of years of mutual benefit at a working arrangement. The bird knows where the treasure is, but it lacks the tools to reach it. The human has the tools, but is blind to where the treasure lies. Together, they form a partnership that defies most of what we thought we understood about the boundaries between human civilization and the wild. Today, we are going to explore the science behind this relationship, the call that unlocks it, the brutal origin story underneath it, the unsolved question of how the bird knows to do it at all, and why this strange collaboration may be one of the most important biological stories on the African continent. When a greater honeyguide locates a wild bee's nest high in a tree, identified by the particular sound of the colony within, the trace of wax scent in the air, and the flight paths of foraging bees converging from across the landscape, it doesn't simply wait. It goes looking for a human. The bird's solicitation display is unmistakable. It fans its white outer tail feathers, begins a conspicuous, undulating flight between trees, and emits a rattling, urgent call that carries clearly through the dry bush. It is the biological equivalent of a flagman standing in a road. The meaning is specific. Come with me, and I will show you something valuable. For the Yao people of Mozambique's Niassa National Reserve, this moment has a specific response. A sound passed from father to son across generations. A rolling trill followed by a grunt. It is not a word in the ordinary sense, but it is a signal with a clear shared meaning. I am ready. I have what you need. Lead the way. In 2016, evolutionary biologist Claire Spottiswoode and her colleagues published the results of 72 controlled experimental trials in Science, designed to determine whether the honeyguide was simply responding to human presence in general, or whether it specifically recognized the meaning of the Yao call. They played back 3 sounds in the field: the traditional brrr-hm, an unrelated Yao word shouted at the same volume, and the call of another local bird species. The results were precise and striking. The traditional call increased the probability of being guided by a honeyguide from 33% to 66%. The overall probability of being shown a bee's nest rose from 16% to 54%. The brrr-hm call more than tripled the chances of a successful honey-finding trip, yielding honey for the humans and wax for the bird. The honey guide is not simply responding to the presence of humans. It is responding to what a specific human sound means. Once the partnership is formed, the bird leads. It flies ahead from tree to tree, always keeping within sight, always pausing to wait, in a slow-motion chase through the bush. Guided parties find bees' nests in 75% of their searches. Without a guide, the equivalent figure is closer to 25%. The bird is not a curiosity. It is a practical tool that has shaped how these communities access one of the most energy-rich foods the savanna offers. And the Yao are not alone. The Hadza of northern Tanzania use a melodic whistle to attract honey guides. Historically, communities across a wide band of sub-Saharan Africa, from Mozambique to Kenya to the Kalahari, have maintained versions of this relationship, each with their own specific call. The birds in each region appear to recognize the local human signals and respond to them preferentially. It is, as Spottiswoode has described it, a mosaic of cultural variation in the honey guide that maps onto the cultural variation of the human communities around them. As human cultures developed unique tools and signals, the birds calibrated their responses accordingly. Two evolutionary processes, one biological, one cultural, have been running in parallel, in sync, for a very long time. When the honey guide finally stops and perches silently beside a particular tree, the human portion of the work begins. The honey hunter builds a bundle of smoldering leaves and grass and blows smoke into the entrance of the hive. Smoke suppresses the defensive response of the bees, the carbon dioxide and heat disrupting their alarm signaling, enough for the hunter to approach and open the nest with an axe or knife, cutting into the bark and timber to expose the honeycomb inside. For the human, the prize is the honey itself, a concentrated source of sugar and energy with an almost indefinite shelf life, one of the most calorie-dense foods available in the African woodland. For the honey guide, the honey is irrelevant. The bird is waiting for something else entirely. What the honey guide wants is the beeswax comb, the waxy structure that the bees have built over months to hold their honey, their larvae, and their eggs. Beeswax is, chemically, one of the most energy-dense natural substances that exists in reasonable abundance in the woodland. A complex mixture of long-chain hydrocarbons, fatty acids, and alcohols, packing roughly the same caloric density per gram as animal fat. It is an almost untapped food source in the savanna because almost nothing can digest it. This is where the honey guide's contract makes evolutionary sense. The hunter takes the honey and, by custom and by mutual understanding, leaves behind the broken wax comb and the bee larva as the bird's portion of the transaction. The labor of opening a nest, the smoke, the tool use, the tolerance for stings, is beyond the bird's capability. The location of the nest, scouted in advance and remembered across a home range of many square kilometers, is beyond the practical ability of a human walking through dense bush. Each party brings what the other lacks. Neither can fully exploit the resource alone. The Yao hunters say that a bird not rewarded will lead the next hunter astray, to a wasp nest or simply nowhere useful. Whether the honey guide is capable of deliberate punishment in this sense is not confirmed by research, but the social norm itself is telling. The hunters take the contract seriously enough to have built a code of reciprocity around it. In the bush, you do not break the deal with a honey guide. To watch a honey guide leading a human through the trees, you might imagine that you are watching a benevolent forest spirit, a small guardian angel of the bush, helpful and light. But the bird's origin story is considerably darker than its public role suggests. The Greater Honeyguide does not build a nest. It cannot. It is a brood parasite, and a particularly brutal one. The mother honeyguide scouts the woodland for the underground burrows and tree-hole nests of other birds, typically bee-eaters, barbets, or woodpeckers. She monitors her target for days, learning the pattern of the host's movement. When she is certain the host parents have left, she enters the nest and lays a single egg. The entire laying event takes less than 10 seconds. But before she leaves, she does something else. She punctures the host's eggs with her bill, destroying some or all of the clutch before she goes. Researchers have documented this behavior in detail. In many parasitized nests, the female honeyguide destroys the existing eggs to guarantee that her own will receive the full attention of the foster parents. And when the honeyguide chick hatches, typically a few days before any surviving host eggs, it arrives in the world with a piece of biological weaponry that serves one purpose and then disappears forever. At the tip of its beak are a pair of needle-sharp hooked structures. The chick is blind. It is featherless. It has been in existence for hours. And then, in the total darkness of the nest burrow, it uses those hooks to attack and kill any host hatchlings or unhatched eggs that remain. The 2011 paper by Claire Spottiswoode in Biology Letters was the first to document this behavior on video inside actual host nests. The killing is methodical. The honeyguide chick bites, grasps, and shakes its target with sustained attacks, lasting 1 to 5 minutes. Death of the host young takes between 9 minutes and several hours. By the time the honeyguide is old enough to leave the nest, raised entirely by foster parents who incubate, feed, and protect it for over a month, its bill hooks are gone. They fall off as the adult beak develops, leaving no visible record of what the chick did in the first hours of its life. It is one of the most extraordinary developmental arcs in the bird world. A creature born with a weapon calibrated specifically for fratricide, which discards that weapon once it is no longer needed, and which eventually, as an adult, enters into what is, by any measurement, a cooperative and mutually beneficial relationship with one of the most socially complex animals on the planet. Born in blood, working later in partnership. The contrast is so extreme that it almost demands a philosophical explanation. It doesn't have one. It has only an evolutionary one. Both behaviors are deeply profitable. To understand why beeswax is worth all of this, the scouting, the leading, the brutal beginning, you have to understand what the honeyguide has built inside its body to exploit it. Beeswax is a biological vault. It is a mixture of complex long-chain hydrocarbons, fatty acid esters, and alcohols, the same class of compounds that makes industrial wax so resistant to degradation. Most animals cannot meaningfully digest it. It passes through the gut of most vertebrates essentially unchanged, yielding almost no energy. It is, for the vast majority of the animal kingdom, biological packaging that cannot be opened. The honeyguide opens it. The mechanism is still the subject of active research, and this is one place where the science is genuinely more complicated than the popular account suggests. The original 1956 identification of the bacterium Micrococcus cyrilliticus in honeyguide droppings led to the widely repeated claim that symbiotic gut bacteria are responsible for wax digestion. But subsequent research, including a carefully controlled study by Downs and colleagues published in 2002, found something different. Very few microbes in the digestive tract of honeyguides studied in the laboratory, and instead, elevated levels of lipase, the enzyme that breaks ester bonds in the pancreas and small intestine. The 2002 study concluded that wax digestion appears to occur primarily through endogenous avian enzymes, not bacterial action. What is not in dispute is the result. Honeyguides achieve a digestive efficiency for beeswax exceeding 90% under controlled conditions, extracting nearly all of the caloric value of a material that everything else treats as inert. They require a longer gut transit time than most birds. Wax moves slowly through the system, allowing extended enzyme contact, and they appear to require protein from other sources, bee larvae being the obvious candidate, to maintain body mass on a wax-heavy diet. The biological consequence of this ability is a food supply with almost no competition. While other woodland birds compete intensely for insects, fruit, and seeds, resources that are seasonal, patchy, and fought over by dozens of species, the honeyguide occupies a dietary niche that is effectively uncontested. The walls of the hive are its alone. It has found a way to eat the packaging that everyone else throws away. There is one final secret to the Greater Honeyguide that evolutionary biologists are still working to explain, and it may be the most important one. How does the bird know how to do this? The question sounds simple, but its implications are not. In most animals with complex behavioral repertoires, the behaviors are learned. A lion cub observes its mother hunting. A chimpanzee watches an older individual use a stone tool and begins to imitate. A young crow observes its parents probing for grubs and copies the technique. But the Greater Honeyguide cannot learn from its parents. It never meets them. It is raised by bee-eaters or barbettes, birds that have no interest in honey finding, no relationship with the humans, no knowledge of how to find a bee's nest. From the moment of hatching, the honeyguide is surrounded exclusively by the wrong species. The knowledge it needs to perform its adult role cannot have been transmitted socially. And yet, young honeyguides attempt to guide humans. The solicitation display, the fanned tail, the undulating flight, the rattling call, the tree-by-tree leading behavior appears early in life, before there has been any opportunity to observe and copy it. The behavior is almost certainly innate, encoded in the bird's DNA rather than taught by example. This means that the honeyguide carries in its genome a behavioral program of remarkable specificity, not just fly toward humans, but the full sequence: find a nest, recruit a human partner, use a specific visual and acoustic display, lead directionally by a recognizable flight pattern, and wait at the hive. It is a multi-step behavioral algorithm of considerable precision, running automatically in a brain the size of a grape without a single example to copy from. The partnership with humans likely evolved through natural selection over what Spottiswoode has called hundreds of thousands of years, longer than modern Homo sapiens has existed in its current form, possibly stretching back into the deeper past of our hominin ancestors. In that span of time, the honeyguides that showed the full guiding display and received a reliable wax reward reproduced more successfully than those that did not. The humans who answered the bird's call and shared the wax brought more honey back to their families than those who ignored it. Both selective pressures ran simultaneously, in parallel, for generation after generation, until the partnership was written into the DNA of one side and the cultural memory of the other. It is the closest thing the natural world has to a co-written story. One chapter in genetics, one in tradition, both essential for the story to work. The Greater Honeyguide reminds us that the boundary between the human world and the wild is not as clean as we tend to draw it. It reminds us that cooperation is not the exclusive invention of civilization, that a bird with no language, no training, and no obligation can choose to work with us, and that we can choose to answer. The call that passes between a Yao hunter and a wild honeyguide in the Mozambican bush is a sound that has been carried across more generations than any living person can count. It is older than the kingdoms that rose and fell on this continent. It has survived the coming and going of everything that came after it. As long as the honey hunters know the call and the birds know what it means, the contract holds. We share this planet with millions of stories, most of them unfolding in the silence of the deep or the shadows of the canopy. Thank you for journeying with me into the world of the Greater Honeyguide. I'm Patrick Viersma. There are many secrets of Earth, if you only know where to listen. I'll see you on the next horizon. Until then, follow our coordinates by subscribing to or following the show. It ensures you never miss a step into the unknown.